most designers don't improve because they're trying to focus on the wrong things. They're trying to focus on learning a very specific tool. And yes, that is important, but what's most important is these 5 things that we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, good design is about solving problems. It's not just about being a really good technical designer. Now, what I mean by technical is focusing all of your skills on becoming the best Figma designer possible, or the best Photoshop designer, Illustrator, Framer, Webflow, whatever it is, because that is what is going to go on your portfolio. And obviously you want to be good at those technical aspects, but design is a lot more than just the technical stuff. There's a lot of fundamentals that you need to understand on why you're designing something to be able to create something that can actually help your client, rather than just being really good at moving some pixels around. In my world, that's what we call a pixel pusher. It's someone that just does design and doesn't actually know what they're representing when they actually do the design. Number 2 is not analyzing high-level design. Now, most designers just go to Dribbble or Landing Book or something like that to get inspiration for their design. And I've done a video on this on why I think that's wrong, but that's for another day for discussion. So what I think is a good way to get inspiration is if you go on something like my agency's list here of some of the best Webflow agency studios, and this can be Webflow, this can be WordPress, whatever you want it to be. But for example, if we go on to an actual agency site and we see what kind of work they're doing in real life, then that helps us understand what work actually stands out, why it's good, why it's not good. So let's go into Flow Ninja. These guys are absolute machines when it comes to this stuff. And I know that they recently did a project for Upwork, so that's how you know that they're really good at this stuff. But let's see here. If we go into their portfolio, we can see their actual designs, and it's just something that helps us understand why something is good and not just a random Dribbble piece. Now, Dribbble is really good for getting visual inspiration on something and understanding different trends. And okay, maybe we can put some images here and there, and Outcrowd's a great agency as well to look at. But when it comes to looking at for inspiration, I think that getting it directly from the source, from agencies, is a much better way to do it. And actually reading what happened, the solutions, the results, all the stuff, because then you start to understand the challenges that some of these startups may face when you come up against them. All right, then we've got typography. Now, it's important to have good typography in your work. If we take a look at, for example, this site right here, or if we go into lapa.ninja, which is one of my favorite inspiration sites in the world, we'll see that a lot of this is about typography. It's not just picking the first font that comes up to you. It's also about pairing. It's also about spacing, making sure that the kerning is correct. All these things are basics pretty much. Now I'm going to click on this one here because I just want to see this font. Now, if you see a site that you like the font, there's an extension for Chrome called What Font. You click on it and then you can hover over something and it'll tell you what the font is. Now here, I think that they didn't change the base for the actual project, but when we hover over the heading, we see that it's PP Mori. Now I actually have this font here, PP Mori. So we can see that, you know, fonts are a huge part of the website process. And we could just pick something like Inter, which I've done many times. And that's kind of the basic thing to pick when you start a project, or something like Arial or Helvetica or something like that. But it's important to go a bit further and try to explore font foundries. For example, Good Type is really good. We have this font, which is super famous. We have Good Sans, we've got Cosmos. A lot of these fonts are going to be premium, of course, but it's something that you need to look into just to be able to elevate your design a level further than just having like the basic fonts that come with your computer, right? Next one is a really important one, and it's gonna be ignoring story when it comes to creating websites, because web design isn't just about graphics. It's not just about layouts. It's about creating a story with your website. And it's important to see that regardless of what industry you're in, when you have a client come to your website, you're basically telling a story, right? You're going from the initial part of the story, which is your hero header, all the way down to the end of your story, which is the contact button. And from that point, you want to create something for the user to understand your product, why you're doing the things you're doing, why you're better than competitors. And all of this can be crafted with your website. It doesn't need to be boring necessarily, but it's something that can help you sell your website and your products. So keep that in mind when you're creating a website. It's important to focus on the UX, on the story, on the actual user that's going to be on the website, rather than just wanting to do a nice layout because you're a web designer and you like to explore web designs. Well, it's more than that. It's about helping the user, not necessarily what you want, right? Now, we've talked about what makes designers not so great, but how can we elevate designers? These are gonna be some of the 5 skills that I think that can help you set apart and help you develop that designer's eye. So we already covered this a little bit in the first one, but it's gonna be fill your inspiration with work that you know for a fact did well. And that to me means staying away from the dribbles, the Behances, the award sites, because award sites are really nice. And if your goal is to get an award, then that's where you want to get inspiration from. But if your goal is to get bigger clients, get the results that the big clients actually want, then it's important to stay away from that and look more into the portfolio sites of big agencies, like for example, Flow Ninja. I'm gonna go into one of my favorite ones, which is gonna be Pentagram. Now, this isn't necessarily a web design agency. They're kind of the biggest graphic design agency in the world, but we can see that anything that they do is gonna be absolutely insane. They also have a digital design thing here. If I just look it up, might be better. Digital design. Okay, we can get a couple of ideas here. Now, some of these might be a little bit older, but for example, for Stereo Labs, we can see exactly what they did. They've got a little video of the branding that they helped do, the product that they created, this little animation. So all these things that help create a really good branding project, right? If you want to do branding, that this might be a great resource for you. But the point is, just go through the best agencies in that category that you want and explore what they've done. See what kind of work helps them become the best of the best. And I guarantee a lot of the times they're not gonna have fancy animations, they're not gonna have crazy award layouts. It's gonna be just good quality work with proper fonts, proper colors, all the basics correct. Let me take a look at this. It looks great and all the basics are there. I doubt there's anything crazy going on, but they managed to do something well worth the client's time. One of my favorite things that I like to recommend new designers and people that are trying to improve their work to do is find a work that you think is great and you know it comes from a reputable agency and all that stuff. And you simply, and this is for only improvement on yourself. You don't want to publish this. It's just for your own practice. You want to copy it. So how we're going to do this is going to be screenshot this entire thing and drag it into a design or development platform of choice. Now for this video, I want to paste it inside of Framer because I think it's just a very simple way to get started. And so now that we've got this here, what we can do is set the opacity quite low. We can even go into layers. We can lock it, okay? And now from here, we can just start going bit by bit, seeing how they actually designed their website. And then eventually you have the exact same layout and website that a really good website already has. And that way, you know for a fact that what you're doing is well worth your time. You're not sort of wasting your time on crazy animations and all this stuff. And so that's a really important moment to analyze, right? What you want to do when you're here is you actually want to analyze why the client did what they did. It's, again, not about layouts, it's about story. It's about understanding why you want to go with headspace, why you want to go with all these different aspects of the site rather than just crazy layouts. So here we've got leadership, we've got community, happier, healthier members. So this is organizations.headspace.com. So it's going to be like a corporate way of creating this landing page. So in summary, what we've talked about today is number one, good design is about solving problems, not just about learning a platform really well. That is also important when you go into web development, and I have 300 videos on my channel about that if you want to see that. But this is just about becoming a better designer. Then we've got not studying the right type of design. We can have Dribble, Behance, award sites for inspirations on specific sections. But when it comes to a holistic view of the site, it's important to look at agency sites or freelancer sites that you actually know do great work. Then we've got weak typography, kerning, all that stuff, making sure that your typography is well prepared. We've got ignoring UX, storytelling, all that stuff, super, super important. And then we've got how to actually master good design, which is going to be for practice only, copying design that you know works and going from there to develop your own style for real projects. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below, like, subscribe, do all those things, and I'll see you guys in the next one.